Welcome to the webinar. So today we are hosting a special session with my student Krishna. So over to you, Krishna. Let's start with you. Would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Krishna. I'm 17 years old. I am planning on going to Canada uh, next year. I've taken a deferral, and I got an 8.5 in my IELTS overall.
Yay! So that's like the perfect score, right? That one can get because we can't get to 9. So those of you who are here, I'm sure you guys also have certain plans for study abroad or immigration. Start with it. Could you tell me your individual bands also? So 8.5 is the overall. What did you get in each category?
Right. So like as you said, I got an 8.5 overall. I got an 8.5 in speaking, 8.5 in listening, 8.5 in reading, and a 7.5 in writing because I made some dumb mistakes.
So was this, by the way, your first time taking IELTS?
Yeah. So this was the first time I was taking the IELTS. I had taken the TOEFL before, and you know, that didn't go as planned because I did get I got a decent score in listening, reading, and writing, but I totally botched my speaking, which really compromised my options. So I had to take the IELTS, and I would say that I mean that went pretty well.
Good decision.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, and so first time taking IELTS. So did you have any idea of the test like before you entered the classes or something? Did you look around, found stuff on YouTube or something like that?
So since I had taken the TOEFL, I already I sort of knew how an English proficiency test worked. So, I mean, as you would know, TOEFL and IELTS share speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So they are quite similar in some ways, but they are quite different at the same time. They have a very different format, and I personally found I just prefer the IELTS much more. Uh, and that's where I've got my first exposure. I mean, like as we had classes, I sort of got well versed with the format in the process. So
Between TOEFL and IELTS, and you personally, because you've taken both, you go for
yeah,
IELTS.
definitely. I really did not like the TOEFL because I basically tend to stutter sometimes. I must point out that the IELTS also it does cut marks for stuttering, but I really preferred I really prefer the speaking section in the IELTS because I did the TOEFL home edition. So I was basically speaking into my computer and I was speaking into like a blank screen and there was a chat box with the examiner on the other side and he was giving me, he was saying start speaking and stuff like that. But when I took the IELTS, I had a very encouraging person on the other side. She like she was smiling and
Probably
she seemed
nodding.
genuinely interested in what I was, yeah, and she actually seemed quite interested in what I was saying. So that was quite encouraging. So
What if
I
it
mean,
didn't happen?
and
Because otherwise the examiners are trained not to, like, they have a poker face. So
yeah,
they don't show you any expressions. Would you
yeah,
still
I mean, mhm.
go for it?
Yeah. So I mean, definitely because first of all, just having another human you're talking to, it's much more natural
Right.
and like the flow of words is just eh, like it's much easier because if you're speaking into a screen, it feels quite odd. If you're speaking to an actual human being on the other side, uh, I mean, it's much easier. It's much easier.
And what did you opt for? Computer-based or the paper-based test?
I chose the computer-based test because the paper-based test takes more time for the results to come back, and I didn't really have time at that point. So I did take the computer-based test. I don't know enough about the paper-based test, but I think, I mean, like at least when I write, uh, like with a pen and paper, I think uh, s- I think words just come out naturally. It's I mean it's like a personal preference. So I would have rather taken the paper-based test, but I'm very happy I took the computer-based test because it went pretty well.
Any sort of difficulty that you faced while you were taking the computer-based test?
Yeah, so I think I think when you're staring into a computer, sometimes you tend to lose focus. Uh, but I didn't really face many problems as of such. But you have to be able to type at a decent speed, in order to sort of manage your time well.
Yeah.
Uh, and one thing which I noticed was I think when we uh, like when we type on a computer, you sort of you sort of like expect autocorrect to work, but you know like obviously that's not the case. So I
Yeah,
think
so
you have to be
guys,
a bit careful of that.
this is for everybody. Yeah, so don't think that if you take the computer-based test, you'd had some Grammarly or spell check over there. It's not. So you
Yeah.
can't use any of those keys or functions.
Mhm.
And anyway, in case you guys also have questions, feel free to put it on the chat box. Like Harsh has just put up. So, are you comfortable with speaking with a foreigner?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, first of all, if like you speak with an accent, it means that
Do you get a
it means that
foreigner
you.
as your examiner?
I didn't. I happen to have an Indian. Uh, I would be comfortable regardless because you know well, I think if you speak with an accent means you know more than one language. So it's something you should be proud of, having an accent in a way. So yeah, I would be comfortable speaking with a foreigner, and I don't think that should I don't think that should really play a part.
Okay, so how long did you wait for booking your exam, or when did you book it? How many days before you actually took it?
So this is a bit complicated. So I sort of tried to book it like I, um, like as soon as we started taking classes, I was booking it. I was trying to book it, but then due to lockdown restrictions, it it basically kept getting cancelled, and uh, I think in the end I had to sort of I had to abandon my slot, and I paid more, and I actually booked a slot in Delhi, so that I could so that so that I could get it done quickly. Uh, so I think in the end, it probably took me a couple of weeks because of this issue.
So you'd always say, it's always better to have some time and not push it till the end, so that in case
Yeah,
there's an issue, you are still able to manage taking the exam. Yeah, this.
absolutely, absolutely. I think when you are like about to book the exam, you might feel a bit nervous because you are sort of committing to something. You're paying money. You could probably spend that money on like a new phone or something, which is you know which is going to be a like good long term investment. But but the thing is, you have to take it. So I think if you are fairly comfortable, you should just go ahead and book it, because if you don't have slots later, you're in a bit of trouble.
Right. Okay. And so, what sort of class did you join here at Leverage?
So I joined the Leverage Fast Track classes because I didn't really want to take like a full course, because I had first of all I had already had a bit of exposure uh, with with the TOEFL, and also I am I'm like fairly comfortable with English, so I just had to. I would like to point out one thing. I don't think these exams are really about you knowing the best English. It's just how to write an exam, because I I had a friend who he didn't speak the Queen's English exactly, and he took the TOEFL and he got a much higher score than me. Uh, so it's not about your skill in English completely. Yes, you have to be you have to be fairly proficient, but it's it's just an exam. So you have to know how to take an exam. Uh, so you have to know all the strategies, and you have to be confident, and I think you have to practice.
As a balance of both test taking strategies and, of course, the English language, the better you are at it, the more uh, more chances that you're going to do fairly well in the exam as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this for everybody as well. So if you think that probably your basics are okay, your fundamental grammar, vocabulary is all there, and you will be able to manage on your own. So it's always advisable that you take this expert guidance, any sort of help. So either you can go for the fast track batch, which is where you can do it in a couple of days, so 2 weeks, 15 days, or you go for the regular batch, which is 4 weeks or 6 weeks. So according to your ability and whatever you are comfortable with, you can choose, because not just one, just your language skills work, but time management and what sort of format and structure of the exam, all of that works. And if you are prepared for it, so you feel a bit more confident, and on the test day, since you are in a familiar environment, you've already prepared for the mock test, or you know what you're going to face, so the better managed, you are able to manage your nerves a bit better. That's it. Okay, so then let's talk about the classes and how did you prepare for it. So any sort of skill or module that you felt, Krishna, was challenging for you before you started the class?
So I mean, since I'd sort of messed up the speaking section in the TOEFL, I thought that would be an issue, but that was not. Listening, I think you just have to make sure you don't fall asleep. So that's not really that's not something I had a problem with. Reading was a bit of an issue because you know you have to you really can't waste any time at all, and you have to it has to be correct, uh, or or you get a low score. Writing, yeah, I mean, I didn't think I would face a problem with that, but in the actual exam, I kind of messed that up because like it is a very dumb mistake. So the writing section 1 and
What
the
did
writing
you
section 2,
do?
yeah. So you sort of I ma'am, I've sort of I must admit I have I have forgotten a bit, but I think you spend less on the first task and more on the second one, right? So I did the opposite, and to my horror, I had like 15 minutes, and I still had to write one essay, and I was freaking out. My hands were trembling, and I just typed something, and that's actually why I got a 7.5. It was really dumb, and actually, ma'am, you had told me
Start
exactly what to do.
backwards?
Yeah, and I did the exact opposite. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anymore, really.
Well, that's always there. Probably you could have gotten an 8 in writing as well if you started backwards, like we discussed
Yeah.
in the class.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, anyway, so the point being, so yeah, you thought you would face difficulty in speaking. I remember we were facing some issues in part 2 of speaking and part 3, and certain errors were there of repetition or not elaborating much and all of that. So of course that you get to know your feedback in the class. That's there.
Yeah.
And in writing, of course, the structure, you need to know that exactly how you're going to go on writing it and what sort of structure you follow for both part 1 and part 2 of your questions, because that can be a problem. So if I go to, let's say, the reading section, so any tips that you can provide, like what strategies you follow for you?
Yeah. So I did have I had a few issues with this. So I I had to sort of I had to get a few strategies. So one was whatever you do, do not read the whole passage. You're going to waste time, and I don't think it'll help you, answer the questions any quicker. Really, what you need to do is, I think you should just read the first line and the last line of each paragraph, and I think you should get an idea of the whole thing. And I mean, even if you don't, you just need to start answering the questions, and you have to look for the answer, because that's really how uh, go through it quickly. Because I think if you spend time, you know, uh, trying to read it, you are definitely gonna, it's well, you will face some issues for sure.
Yeah, so time management is actually a big thing for reading. You only have 60 minutes and there are 3 passages. So sometimes students also start backwards, so they deal with the most challenging one, because third passage would be the hardest of all. So of course, I don't recommend that, because then you're again already you are, nervous, and there's an exam, there's the test, uh, all of that. And then on top of that, since you're not getting answers or you're taking a lot of time, that adds to the pressure. So dealing with the first passage first, which is the easiest, and you just be done with it. And then you move in sequence, in order. That works. I mean, of course, but for different students, it can work. And that's what we figure out in the class individually. But of course,
Yeah.
the keywords.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting, ma'am. I think there's some question which I wanted to answer in the chat. It's from Sushri. You were good in English from starting, or after preparing, you became good in this? So I just like to point out, I I have already been speaking English for a long time. I have not. I'm not that great at Hindi, I must admit. So, and I basically speak English at home. So I did have an advantage from the start, but as I said, first of all, it's an exam. It's not about how good you are in English. To an extent, yes, you should be able to speak English, but it's just about being smart about it. And I think it helps if you like if you are good at English from the start. But if you practice, uh, if you are already exposed to English, if you watch movies which are in English, if you speak to your friends in English, uh, and if you are just immersed in pop culture, which is English, I think you have an advantage. But if you don't, that's fine. I think you should just practice, and you should go with the strategies, and you will get the same as anybody else, in my opinion. Obviously, somebody else might have a different reading of this.
Because anyway, it's a language proficiency test. Of course, you need to build that proficiency in the language. And like Krishna said, it's an exam, so you also need to have those strategies. So everything goes hand in hand. So in the classes, you are also exposed to language. It's not just targeted just for IELTS. You also have supplementary material for language, and how you build up your vocabulary, or the correct sound grammar that you use, and all of that. But definitely, if you are not just practicing for IELTS, but you also have other exposure to the language, that's an added advantage. It only just adds to your ability. It's not going to take away anything. So reading or listening, or watching movies without trying for subtitles, or even the listening, the audios that we use for IELTS listening, once you get to hear it, and suppose you miss out certain answers, so always refer to the text as well. So they always provide you with the audio, the script of it at the end of the books. And of course, we share that with you. So you'd also expose yourself to, okay, this is why I wasn't able to hear it. And it's a skill, like you're learning how to drive. So once you practice, the more you practice, you get better at it. Same is with the English language. But of course, there are those test taking tips and strategies which help. It's not a shortcut, I'd say, but it enables you better to deal with the exam. That's what it is. Okay, anybody else with questions? Of course, you can also go ahead. So Madhur is asking, how can you prepare for the reading section to score 9 bands?
I have not scored. I've not scored a 9 band, so I don't know how you would score one. But I would say it is. It's basically about practice. I must admit, I I was not very confident in reading, to be fair. So it's just about practice,
How many did
and
you
the rest
do
is
you
just.
remember? How many like mocks or test papers or what?
So I think I did about uh, 10 probably, and I didn't even do all of them fully. But I did some extra reading and writing sections because those are quite crucial, uh, and I was not too comfortable in them.
Do you
So
otherwise also read, Krishna? Like read for leisure or otherwise?
so I do sort of read. I have taken literature in school, and I I have a Kindle and all that. But of late, I've not been reading very much. So uh, I still think it's not really about reading books to an extent, because of late I've not been reading many books. I just don't have the time, or I don't make the time for it. But if you have a Netflix account and you watch, uh, if you watch movies, listen to music, uh, read articles, or if you're just on social media, I think that's enough. I don't think you need to read. I think that's
I mean,
it'll obviously help, but
not
it's not
reading just
necessary.
books.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
not the only resource that you have.
Yeah,
For some people it could be monotonous,
yeah,
getting larger books or more number of pages. So it's not just that. You can go through newspapers,
yeah,
and it's of course there's one thing, you're getting more ideas or you're getting vocabulary, but it also builds up your reading speed
yeah,
because you need that in the reading passages as well for IELTS. So you skim through the newspapers or you go through articles, blogs, anything, and not just, let's say, for any topic, something that you are interested in. So that eventually builds up your speed as well. That's there too. So Kshitij is asking within how much time you were prepared for.
so uh, it took me about, let's say, it's like about 12 days on and off. I was not studying day and night for it. I would devote some time, then I would procrastinate, and then I would just listen to music or play games. Then I would get worried again, and I would study a little bit more. So I was not exactly like very devoted to it, but I think if you are, you can score much higher, because I think at the end of the day it is just practice. And I think, yeah, I it's not really about it. It's not the amount of time you spend, uh, but it's how much you get accomplished.
So somebody who's, let's say, so when Krishna started, he was at a level 7.5, upper intermediate. So then you of course need targeted practice and polishing to get to the
Yeah,
8 or 8.5. But somebody who's at an average level or intermediate, they would require more time and more practice as well. So that's there. Of course, for all of you aiming for an 8, 8.5, it would work. Something similar would work for you if you are already at a certain level. But if not, then you would have to put in more time for practice and understand and probably do more test papers, read more, just, have absorption of more language. So it's always different for every student, just keeping that in mind as well. I think that's what I said. A perfect 9 is not possible in IELTS. The overall band can't be 9. It is 8.5, and that's what he's got. So in a sense, he's got that perfect score. But definitely, like, for writing, he got a 7.5. So he messed up time management in the exam. So he started with the task one. He took a lot of time in that time. That's why. So probably there, Krishna could have gotten a better score. Yeah, Krishna, what do you say?
Yeah, definitely. I actually, I thought I'd like totally messed up the writing section when I finished, and I was sort of surprised when I got my results back because I did not expect to get 7.5 because I made a really dumb error. I just spent too much time where uh, so I like did almost double uh, where I didn't need to, and I didn't do enough. I did just enough for um, for the writing section where I needed, you know, I needed more words.
Okay. And so, uh, how are the classes helpful to you? Do you think you're happy that you took it, or what?
Yeah, so um, I'm like very happy that I took these classes and with you, ma'am, because first of all, I am not somebody who can really, you know, you sort of have to know quite a bit about the like what the format of the IELTS, and uh, there are like a lot of unsaid things which the coaches know like about the IELTS, and I'm sure if you like put in enough effort, I'm sure you could do it on your own because a lot of people do. But I simply, I felt like I needed some assistance to go through it because you know I wanted to get a good score, and I wanted like an inside perspective from somebody who you know who uh, trains people for the IELTS for a living because they have the most experience in this, and I wanted to get a good score. And I think I don't think I would have done it like without coaching because it just gave me like another level of confidence. Yeah, so I'm very happy I did it.
So, what are your plans now? Now that you've one step closer, you've done this.
Yeah, I mean it's done. So uh, I'm I'm happy, and it's sort of out of my mind now because now I've got other work to do. So uh, I think it sort of ended really well. Like I was first slightly worried because because I'd done the TOEFL, it didn't go very well. I was worried. Then I took the exam. No, then I was like, um, I was just about to take the exam, and I was slightly calm. Then I messed up in the test. I was worried again, and now it's over. So I am I'm very happy. I'm very happy it's over, and it sort of ended in a really good way. I'm happy I got an 8.5. I wouldn't have done anything different, and yeah, it's I guess all well. I guess all's well that ends well.
Deepshika is asking how many weeks, Deepshika, or months does it take for the regular pack? Okay, so I will get to it now. Anybody else who has a question for Krishna, since he's one of you recently taken the exam, got an 8.5? Vinita, so she's asking her exam is on 21st. Okay. Give me some tips for match the heading questions. Krishna, do you remember? Reading, match the heading?
Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay. Match the headings. Okay. Uh, so that was very tough. I must admit, I found that really tough. Uh, you, but what I did was okay, so it basically comes down to time management. So the first reading passage, you need to sort of you have to spend less time. Uh, and it'll be slightly easier. Second one, slightly more time. Third one, which is usually match the headings or something, something like that. You need to you have to spend the most time on it, and you need to keep double checking. And I yeah, I think I should practice because I was really scared for that, and I think I got it also. But it basically comes down to practice, and if it's not, I mean, if you don't practice that much, then I think you just need to you have to just keep double checking. You have to spend more time on it. I think that's the most crucial thing. The more uncomfortable you are on it, you have to spend more time.
So Vinita, you
That's
can
my opinion.
strategize as well. So like match the heading questions either come in passage 2 or 3. They don't come in passage 1. So first thing you deal with passage 1 first. And when it comes to the match the heading questions, don't do those first. So suppose I have passage 3 and I have 27 to let's say 33 questions for match the heading. So deal with 34 to 40 first. So very quickly, whatever they are, deal with those first and then go to match the heading. And here, the strategy with keywords and all that doesn't work. So what you do is you start with the paragraphs first. You read the first two, last two lines, get an understanding of what it is about, and then go back and choose something which shows the gist of the paragraph, not just the same words. In fact, if you have similar words, then that's not your answer. And always do the questions where you guys are getting the first answer with. If there's something problematic or you think this is taking more time, leave it till the end. Do the questions which you're getting in the first go. So at least out of 40, if you're, let's say, doing 25, 26, so you're at least confident that, I'm done with this score. And now whatever I'm getting, I'm going to just build on it. And taking less time with other questions so that you save time for these kind of questions. And of course, practice these strategies. Okay. 1 second. Krishna, you mind answering another question for speed for typing, number of words per minute?
So I don't really know what speed I type at, but it's not that great. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I think you should be like moderately fast, and I think more than the speed of typing, it's also about thinking while you are typing, which is like another, it's tough. So I would say if you're taking the computer based test, you should definitely, you should answer like if you have to do the writing section, I'd recommend you type on Word or rather than writing, because like when you write with the pen and paper, it's that's not what you're going to be encountering in the exam. So you should definitely, use Microsoft Word or Google Docs or whatever to type for the writing section, for sure.
Divyanshu, you can also practice keyboarding and typing so that you understand where the keys are and you're not able to looking down on the keyboard. So while you are also practicing for IELTS, so like in the classes also, we ensure that if you're going for the computer-based test, you type your answers. You don't write them, even with listening or reading, so that you practice that and you build that skill as well. So keyboarding, you can do that online as well.
And I'd also like to say one thing about the IELTS as a whole, and definitely the speaking section in particular. You may know English and you may speak it well, and you may use simple language. But what I think you have to do is you basically have to show off sort of to the examiner to show that, look, I can speak English well. And, you can be comfortable giving me a high score. So, I don't think we all use idioms and all that, and we speak it like in every sentence. It's just quite odd. But I think you have to sort of show that, look, I speak good English, and like even if it's not my first language, I have practiced like hell, and I have made it here. So I think I deserve this. I think that's what you have to say at the end of the day.
Because anyway, they're checking if you're comfortable with the language, right? You have to tell this, that. So because it is also time bound, so hence you require that everything you have to say, you directly state the question, answer it, and you're not beating about the bush. You give to the point answers, and of course a range of vocabulary around whatever context or theme that comes to you. Madhur, it's not about learning a lot of vocabulary. It's again depend. Of course, you need to show them that range to in both speaking and writing. And yes, there's vocabulary involved, there's grammar involved, but how much of it? I mean, it's very individual. But definitely, it is a part of taking the exam. That is building up your English language. And don't just think that this is just for IELTS. Whatever practice and whatever strategies and tips that you learn, let's say for speaking or writing or otherwise, listening, reading skills, they help you later as well. So, because it's language, right? And you guys are planning to go to a country where you're getting nationalities or basically people who are speaking in English with an accent different than ours. So then you expose yourself to as much language as you can right now, so that you won't be able to, you won't face any issue later on. You'll be confident to speak, publicly speak, give assignments, all of that. So you won't have an issue later on. So take IELTS as a stepping stone for that as well. Okay, so I guess that's it. To tell you as a good news, we're giving this giveaway 60% off on our classes, fast track or regular, and you guys please make use of that as well. Here are your details. This is the discount code that you'd have to put when you go to the website, and you will be eligible for the discount, 60% off on both fast track and regular courses. Multiple times given, you choose according to your convenience. Krishna went for the fast track course, but we've already talked about. So if you feel that you would require more help and you need more time with the trainer, so definitely go for the regular batch. And our trainer also is a native speaker, so you will be able to get familiarity with native English speaking as well. And of course, supplementary material, test taking strategies, all of that is there, which has helped Krishna. And I hope that was going to help you as well. So thank you, Krishna. I will see you. I know that you're planning to go to Canada. I know you'll have a fantastic time, successful career as well. And of course, one of our head coaches is helping you with that. So I'll get to know when you get to do that. So thank you so much for coming to this session and sharing your experiences.
Pleasure, ma'am.